All right, welcome to episode 118 of the 2-Minute Warning. Today I will be doing an updated MVP race video. We did one about 50 or so videos ago, and quite a bit has changed. So right now, to start things off, what I say is my top 5 MVP candidates go, and in this order: Patrick Mahomes here, then the next guy in my opinion here, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, number 4, Josh Allen, and number 5, Kyler Murray. Now, last video we had a very tight, like I said, this was probably 4 weeks ago, we did our last video on MVP race. We had a very tight competition between Mahomes and Russell Wilson, within Rodgers in the 3rd spot, also close, but the 3rd candidate out of those 3. And we had Josh Allen and Kyler Murray both as dark horses. We might even throw Derrick Henry in the conversation, which he's still the best running back in the league, but not really in the MVP race. Now, what has changed since then is Mahomes has gained 2 or 3 steps on everybody else. We've seen Aaron Rodgers and the Packers drop games to Indianapolis, drop a game to Minnesota. We've seen Russell Wilson drop a game to the Rams, drop a game to the Cardinals. We've seen Josh Allen be pretty solid, and Kyler Murray in the Cardinals earlier in the season, of course, dropped a game to Carolina, dropped a game to Detroit, and just recently lost to Seattle, which isn't necessarily a big loss. It was a big loss, but not necessarily a bad loss. It was just a good team in Seattle. But anyway, the one guy here that has refused to lose any bad games is Patrick Mahomes. The rest of these teams on the list, Cardinals 6-4, the rest are 7-3, and then the Chiefs are 9-1. So that's the number one reason why I give Mahomes the top spot. He doesn't lose football games. We just saw them last Sunday night, played a great game with the Raiders, trailing the Raiders with 1:40 left. Mahomes gets the ball, marches down the field. Typical Mahomes fashion, he does not lose. So, first and foremost, Patrick Mahomes is my MVP this season. But now, what's changed? Russell Wilson has fallen into the 3 spot for me. Rodgers taking that 2 spot. Let's take a look at Rodgers' stats here. 2,900 yards, just barely shy. The Packers are 7-3, just lost a great game to the Colts, but they did lose this past week. 7-3, like I said. Rodgers, 29 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, has an 83.8 QBR, ranked 2nd in the league to only my homeboy Patrick Mahomes has an 85.0. So, 2nd best QBR, 2nd best touchdown interception ratio. So Rodgers is my 2nd one. Now he does have more touchdowns than Mahomes, 29 Rodgers, 27 Mahomes, but he has more interceptions and more losses and less QBR. Mahomes is the better quarterback at the moment. So Mahomes, Rodgers. Just taking a look at Mahomes' stats, I jumped over that earlier. Just over 3,000 yards, 9-1 record, 27-2 touchdown ratio, the touchdown interception, and 85 QBR. Basically top stats in all those categories except for overall touchdowns among these 5 guys. Like I said, Rodgers in the 2 spot. Now, Wilson has struggled a little bit. They dropped a game to the Rams. Shouldn't have happened. They dropped a game to the Cardinals. Before that, shouldn't have happened. Wilson went through a stretch of like 4 or 5 games. I think it was 3 or 4 games where he had less touchdowns than interceptions. He had more interceptions than he did touchdowns. Restate that. In that game, in that stretch where he had those 2 losses. So he started off the season as a clear front runner for the MVP because Mahomes was just being solid, and Russell Wilson was coming out throwing 4 touchdowns a game for the first 3 games in the season. So he's kind of dropped off since then. Then they just had a big win this past week against Arizona Thursday night. So he's on the come up, but he has dropped to number 3 on my MVP list. Josh Allen comes in number 4 spot. Taking a look at his stats, just shy of 2,900 yards, 73 record. They're winning that AFC East division. Only has 21 touchdowns, and I say only because the 3 guys ahead of him, Rodgers has 29, Wilson has 30. Wilson has the most touchdowns of these 5 guys, and then Mahomes has 27. So the closest Allen is to any of the 3 guys ahead of him is Mahomes. He's 6 touchdowns shy of that, but he's not going to catch him. So he also has 7 interceptions, which is more than the other 3 guys ahead of him. So I think Josh Allen, and eventually I'm going to get to Kyler Murray in my 5 spot, are close. They're both who we identified as dark horses early in the season, have now worked their way into the top 5 in my opinion. Then coming into my 5 spot, Kyler Murray, been electric all season. He's kind of pushing to fit the pattern over the last 2 years with Lamar, then Mahomes, of winning MVP in their 2nd year. I hope he can but somehow make a push to the top. I love Kyler Murray. Don't see him winning, but he is my solid 5 spot. 2,600 yards, just over. 6-4 record. Like I said, the Cardinals dropped 2 really questionable games to the Panthers and Lions earlier in the season. They've also lost to I want to say, I know they've lost also to the Seattle Seahawks one more game, probably in the division. Oh, I think they lost to the 49ers, maybe. Anyway, so again, 6-4. Out of the rest of these guys, like I said, 9-1 Chiefs, the rest are 7-3, then Cardinals 6-4. So you do have the worst record of these 5 quarterbacks that I'm considering for the MVP. He's 9th ranked QBR, 74.0. I didn't mention Allen is at 77.4, 6th ranked QBR. So again, they are a little bit farther down the list, but they're a great 4 and 5 spot for me. When these two teams played head-to-head, the Cardinals actually beat the Bills. So they do have the head-to-head matchup, but I think Allen is the better quarterback at the moment. Stronger arm, he's got more experience. So I do have him ahead of Murray in the MVP race. So like I said, my top 5 guys go Mahomes, Rodgers, Wilson, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray. I think it's really between Mahomes and Rodgers and Wilson at this point. Even more specifically, I think it's just between Rodgers and Mahomes. Like I said, Wilson has really dropped off, had that bad stretch of 3 or 4 games where he was throwing a lot of interceptions, losing football games. Rodgers also, like I said, lost to Minnesota, just lost to the Colts. Teams played the Jags to a 2-point game. So Rodgers has really struggled a little bit too, but his stats haven't. And I think Rodgers is making a push for that 2 spot like I have him in. But in the end, Mahomes is my MVP for this 2020-2021 season. 2 in the morning.